Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. You may have missed this today, but apparently Manchester United have put a bid in for Raphael Varane. Also, we've got updates on Jadon Sancho, quite an interesting one on him, the centre-back situation, of course, and lots of other things. I mean, look, what I would say about I'm a little bit late, by the way, because I was just waiting to see the final score between Denmark and Belgium, as I'm sure many of you will be. And I am doing a Holland versus Austria watch-along on That's Football at 8 o'clock, which is why we're live at 7 o'clock. But we're going to be talking about quite a few things. But there's been a few updates from Romano coming in the last couple of hours. And basically, he said around Sancho, we'll know something in the next 2 to 3 weeks. You've been mugged. You've been mugged. What did I say? After the Euros. And people were telling me before the Euros, anytime during the Euros. Mugged off by Glazer politics is my theory on that one. But let's talk about this Varane bid. But first of all, before we do that, as you can see in the top left-hand corner, trim your grass to make your yard look bigger. It looks like United might be showing a bit of balls. They might be using the old Manscaped engineering themselves here, because Father's Day just around the corner and nothing says I love you, Dad, more than a world-class trimmer for his balls. You don't have to do it for him. You heard that right. The Lawnmower 3.0 from Manscaped, which I think United may well be using on this Varane deal if it's true, is the best body hair trimmer on the market. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels, and you can get 20% off plus free shipping by clicking the link in the description below. The Manscaped razors are super premium, boast a 90-minute battery life, waterproof technology, so you can use it in the shower, and even a little LED light there, like you can say. The Manscaped razor is super easy to charge and even comes with its own USB charging port, so you can show that off. And because Manscaped care about all the nuts that watch this programme, nuts being a play on balls, they are giving a huge 20% off to you United Stands when you click the link in the video description. All you got to do is click the link in the video description. Another great thing about Manscaped is whenever you do a purchase to manscaped.com, they make a contribution to the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health and early cancer detection. And as I said, this one is for down there. This one is for up there. If you're of a certain age, these are superb. I mean, I have to use it once a week now. It used to be like once a month, but my nose hair is growing like, there's no problem with lack of trees up my forest in my nose. But anyway, fantastic products. I use them all the time. Get yours. Links in the video description. 20% off. Trim your grass to make your yard look bigger. Thank you very much to Manscaped. And as I said, United seem to be showing a little bit of balls, if you can believe what is being said about transfers at the moment. Because this is coming. I'd missed this. I was talking to one of the lads today. They're like, what are you going to do about the show? 11 in. Can I just say here we go? Actually, can I just give a here we go? Levin will be on the United Stand. He put an audition tape in. I put him on the show last night. I think everybody loved him. United Stand, we don't mess about. We don't mess about in the summer transfer market. So, look, we've brought Beth in that way. We've brought Jordan in that way. Now Levin's come in that way. And this is great because this is the United Stand community sending their clips in. We see what people are like. We get them on in front of you. You make a decision. We make a decision. Fast. Transfer business by the United Stand. So welcome to Levin. Here we go. And we'll get him on the show again very, very soon. He was fantastic last night, wasn't he? Fantastic news. Smash a like on the video for Levin, and thank you for reminding me about that. But let's get on with this show. You might have missed this. Manchester Evening News, and not just any journalist in the Manchester Evening News, Samuel Luckhurst, who, look, you know what? We don't particularly get on because I think he's quite rude towards fan channels. But what I've always respected the fact that I know he's got the ear of people within Manchester United Football Club. And when he says things about Manchester United, like we've been talking to Pochettino, I always say maybe we should be taking note of that. Well, he did an article today saying that Manchester United have bid £50 million for Varane and are now deciding what to do because that bid has been rejected. So none of this talk of going for Varane, actually saying that we've bid for Varane, which I think is really interesting because I'd missed it. And I don't know whether you'd missed it. Maybe you lot are going, oh yeah, we already know about this, Mark. What are you doing? But no, I'd missed it up until an hour ago. So United have, apparently, according to Manchester Evening News, Samuel Luckhurst, have bid £50 million for Varane, which has been knocked back. Now, there's a lot going on with Varane at the moment. There is, Ramos has obviously done his interview. We mentioned that this morning. He's leaving. There's a lot of talk around Madrid that they're going to change their policy now, that they're going to give Varane what he wants because they can't afford to lose Ramos and Varane. But then there's a belief that Varane maybe wants to go. There's also talk now that maybe Manchester United have put a bid in for Varane. So it's interesting. It's interesting. But, what I would say is if there's something truth about this bid, then, you know, that journalist is probably somebody, I would say, who would check that out with sources at the club. Now, I don't know whether that's 100% true, but, you know, he will know the people in United and he will know to make a phone call about that. So, you know, if United aren't denying it, I mean, it's hard to say, but it's very interesting that there's a story out there that United have bid for Varane. We don't normally get that sort of a story about United bidding for Varane. So I'm interested by that. I heard the Varane bid was rejected. 1, our board is incompetent, and 2, everyone takes advantage of United. Anything above 50 million for Varane is a joke, says Sakin. Well, I saw something today that they want 80 million pounds for him. Well, look, if he's worth 80 million pounds, then so Pogba's worth 100, and we're not going to get that with a year to go. But let's get a petition for all the United players to get their balls trimmed, says Dave on a stick. Okay. And don't you think United bid for Varane knowing they would reject to make the fans feel better, says Anna Rudd? Well, you know, you might be onto something like that. You might be onto something like that, because if you bid for a player you've got no chance of getting, then you can only say we've tried. But having said that, I think United fans are probably a little bit past that now. You know, I don't think United fans are the sort of people who just sit there and go, well, at least we tried. Well, Manchester United, we do need to do a little bit better than that. So interesting to see how that's going to develop, because we have got some comments from Varane, not from Varane, from Romano. The Times said that Varane, Real Madrid want Varane to stay with Alaba because Ramos has gone. But Romano has said this evening that these talks with Sancho, there are talks with Varane. He even goes on to say that Varane's got the same agent as Trippier, which I don't know whether that's true. But there's no advanced talks with Varane at the moment. That's from Romano. But as I said, Manchester Evening News are saying that there's a bid gone in. So we'll have to see how that's going to build out, because, you know, one saying that there has been a bid and one's not. Appreciate all the love, everyone. Let's just hope the board will be as efficient in the market as United stand. That is from Levin 2K. Look, he's in the chat. We should have got you on, Levin. That would have been. We've got to get him on. We've got to get him on very, very soon. But welcome to the team, mate. And yeah, we don't mess about on the United stand. Getting the business done early. Yes. Just also in the Times, they said that Manchester United are looking at a striker, a centre back, a CDM and a right winger, which probably would probably please a lot of you. Interestingly enough, Romano has said that United are looking at a centre-back, a right-back and Sancho. But that might be just at the moment, or it could be our summer. I mean, is a centre-back, a right-back and Sancho a good summer for United? No, it isn't. I will not lie. If we go into next season with Sancho, a centre-back and a right-back, I will say that's not good enough. Would you swap Pogba for... I don't even know who that is, Joseph Borg. I don't know the name of that person, so I'm going to read it out. Love you, Goldie. Big shout-out to you, Pratt. Mine, my best mate, Doug, says Mike John. Thank you very much. Just want to see what you think of Ollie saying he wants to play Wan-Bissaka at centre-back during pre-season. Pratt, Max. Absolute Pratt if he thinks he's going to do that. If we do not get Koundé, Varane or Torres and get Ben Scheidt or Botman, but then got Rice, would that be a success for the summer? Says Drew. Not really. I don't think you can... I don't ever think Manchester United should have to make do. So basically what you're saying is get a crap centre-back and then get Declan Rice. Is that a good summer? Do you think Man City do that? Do you think Man City go and get 6th, 7th choice centre-backs? No. And I'm not saying that Botman and White are crap, but they're not the level of centre-back that we're meant to be getting. So, you know, it's still all there for Manchester United to do and move on. But as I said, let me just bring in... I mean, I want Varane. But let me just bring you this. This is something that I just find amazing. Romano on the Sancho deal. I expect that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have more clarity over the Jadon Sancho deal. We'll understand if Manchester United will complete the deal or if they're going to change their mind. This is from Romano. I expect in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have more clarity over the Jadon Sancho deal. We'll understand if Manchester United are going to complete the deal or if they're going to change their mind. I mean, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? I mean, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right about this. I do not want to be right. But for the last 3 weeks, we've heard that this deal could happen. I mean, I've seen these knobheads on Twitter, these ITKs. Oh, it's going to happen. The next few hours are critical. This week is critical. It's going to happen before the Euros. Oh, it could happen today. And the reality is you've got Fabrizio Romano, who I will tell you time and time again is probably the closest person to this deal in the media industry. And he is saying we will know in the next 2 to 3 weeks. He's not even saying in the next 2 weeks. He's saying 2 to 3 weeks. So he's basically saying in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we're 2 weeks at least away from this deal happening, if you interpret that right from Romano. And 2 weeks' time, we're basically, 2 weeks' time, we're nearly semi-final time of the Euros. Teams are coming home. So, you know, where is this nonsense that we were going to get Sancho done before the Euros? Where are these people? Where are these people that we're going to get the deal done through the summer? This is Manchester United. There is no change. There is a director of football in name, but the change has not occurred. There is no reform. We are the same Manchester United. We are the same team and board that take weeks and weeks to do a deal that is there to be done. This is going to be 6 weeks from start to finish again. This is going to be the standard 6 weeks public play out. And yet, it's longer than that because we spent all last summer playing this deal out as well. But from when this started, which was about 3 weeks ago, if it's not going to happen for another 2-3 weeks, there you go. There's your 6 week deal. And I always said, did I not always say that Jadon Sancho would be signed after the Euros with the team viewer shirt? And the scary thing is, that's obviously the marquee signing. They're obviously going to use Sancho as the marquee signing. So, you know, it could be Sancho and very little else from this club. This is not reform. This is not, you know, I'm sorry to say that Joel Glazer sitting on that fan forum was the biggest lie we've ever seen. And some people have swallowed it because spending on this club is not Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho was last summer's signing and they decided not to do it. To wheel him out as this summer's signing and this summer's marquee of reform when they should have done it a year ago. Mugs. And I'm not having mug put on my forehead. Sancho is very welcome at this club, but it should get done and we move on to whatever else business we're going to do. Because Sancho is last summer's signing. He's not this summer's signing. And they're trying to turn it into this big marquee that, oh, look at us, we can flex our muscles, we really are interested in winning a title. I'm not buying it. If we broke the bank for Kante and got Zidane as manager, we would be serious contenders from Premier League and Champions League silverware. What are your thoughts, as Julian S? Can't say it changed most teams. What do you think more important, Mark? Strengthen the midfield or defence? Can't do another season with McFred, says Lee Houghton. I think you need to do both. Sergio Ramos, Glazer kind of deal. Want to talk about that, Gustav, actually. If United are willing to shell out 50 million for Varane, then if we get Ramos for free, we can spend 50 million plus Lingard to get Rice or Ndidi. Thoughts, says Sachin. Mark, scary thing is, Romano says if they complete it, they might not, says Andy and Bruno. Well, I know. And that to me sounds like Romano's changing his mind a little bit because a couple of weeks ago he was, you know, basically saying it's very, very close. Mark, Varane current market value at 77 million per transfer market. What do you think? Yeah, but no, I disagree with that, Peter. I really do. Just on Sergio Ramos, Glazer kind of deal, says Gustav. You know, United will not go for Sergio Ramos. He will not come to Manchester United. The rumour is that United don't want to go for him because a few years ago he rejected it. But they won't want Sergio Ramos to come to this football club. Do you know why? Because he will be vocal about how crap we are. Sergio Ramos walks into this club and he'll go, what's going on here then? You know, what's all this? Why have you got good players on the training ground that you're not picking because you're picking your favourites? Why are you treating people like... What's going on here? That's what Ramos would do. They don't want that sort of a leader in the club who walks in and goes... I've won everything this football world's got to offer. This is how you do it. He'll walk into United and he'll go, what? First Conan back, second Conan back, third Conan back. Is this the training, is it? What we're doing on set pieces? Just mark who you want. I don't think United would want Ramos. I don't think Ollie would want Ramos because I think Ramos, even at his age... look, I don't personally wouldn't take Ramos for different reasons, but... United won't go near Ramos because he'd be too much of a leader for this club. And they don't want that. Remember, this club is job for the boys. Everyone looks out for each other. You don't want a massive leader and ego coming into your club, knowing what it takes to win and exposing how bad that club is. Because worst case scenario, Ramos comes in for a year, leaves and goes, you know, that club's a joke. United don't want people like that. They don't want people to do that. If we break the bank for Kev, I've done that one as well. And would you swap Pogba for Varane? I don't want Pogba to go. Mank living in Copenhagen here, says Sam Brox. Respect to Lukaku for comments after match. Manchester United transfer's a joke. Board and Glaze is a joke. No manager can be a success, says Sam Brox. I'm hoping that Denmark are going to beat Russia in the final game and still go through because I feel like they lost 3 points at the start because of horrible circumstances. Grant Fisher says, hey Mark, what do you think of James Maddison becoming available? Also, the only owner who cares a little for United is Joel. The rest just collect dollars. I don't think any of them care. Grants. I'm not even going to say Joel's a good guy. If you've got Glazer after your name, you are not a good thing for United. If there was 80... Sorry, on James Maddison, no. Why do we need James Maddison? I'm not... Maddison's okay, but why do we need James Maddison? If I could take another attacking midfielder, I've got to say, as a footballer, I absolutely love Jack Grealish. Every time I see him do an interview or just messing about in training, there's something about Jack Grealish, and I'm not the only one. There's just something iconic about Jack Grealish, and I would love him at United. I think it's such a shame that he's not going to be a Manchester United player, because there's something about Jack Grealish that's just, as I say, he's got that something about him, and I'd love him in a United shirt. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So, no, Maddison for me, no. But if we were going to take a player like that, definitely Jack Grealish. If there was 80 million for Sancho last year and we have 100 to 150 million budget, technically the Glazers are only putting up 27 to 70 million this year. Horrendous is Forever United. And what's the latest on Zaha? We obviously get a percentage of that. He should be getting a move to a big club, really, says Wilco. I think Arsenal want him. I don't get it. All the clubs snap up our first and second choice and we will end up with a ball boy. Thoughts Glazers said other clubs should look up to us, says Michael Thackeray. They're chances. They're chances, Michael. They're absolute chances. This is what I'm saying. Romano's come out today and said, we'll find out what's happening with United and Sancho in the next 2 or 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks takes us into the middle of July. Well, 2 weeks takes us to the start of July. 3 weeks take us, you get into... That's the end of the Euros. So, basically, in my mind, the Glazers were in trouble. United fans were protesting. Sponsors were being targeted. And United fans were united for once to try and get them out of the club. How did that change? The season ended. We lost the Europa League. You'd think that would make people even more angry. The season ends, he sits on a fan forum, and then the Sancho story comes out. And that Sancho story was not your usual story. That was coming from credible people. This is imminent. This is very close. There were blue tick people saying this deal is so close. Remember I said it, maybe coming up for over a week, 2 weeks ago now. I said, you've got people saying this is close, but what is close? Is close in the next 48 hours. I had people telling me who are really credible, 48 hours. Could be in the next 48 hours. It was 2 weeks ago. And Romano's just come out and said another 2 or 3 weeks. Absolutely played. We've been absolutely played. Don't you try and rewrite history. You know what was happening 2 weeks ago. This deal's imminent. This deal is close. And now we're hearing 2 or 3 weeks maybe. How can it be close and then take 5 weeks? Incompetent negotiation, yeah, or have we actually been played? Either way, it's not a good look. Mark, do you have Fletcher? Do you hear Fletcher say that he likes man-to-man marking? I was like, hey, what? Says Gary Turner. I mean, I like Darren Fletcher as a player, but what acumen has he got as a coach? He's just another guy who retired, did a little bit of coaching, and now ends up at Manchester United. Dennis Sakari has got 1 year left on his contract. Perfect Pogba partner. 3 Ps there. Have to sign a centre-back and Sancho, otherwise protests will continue, says Luke. Mark, the leader thing you mentioned about Ramos, would that apply with Ronaldo too? Will the Glazers think the same in this case, just in case? There's something. Yeah, Ronaldo would come in and expose the club as well. So, for all the shirt sales he'd do, I don't think they'd bring Ronaldo back. Any chance Williams fills that right back role, says Mike John. He's not left-footed to the left back situation. No, Williams was given no chance. Williams, Twansebi, Van der Beek, no chance last season, were they? And they should have been. I'm watching one game of France this Euro. Now we have not got that Paul Pogba at United. The board ruined him. Sign a CDM. Pogba will stay, says Drew. Look, I still believe Sancho will happen. I do believe Sancho will happen. I know there's talk of Koeman and stuff like that, but I do believe that Jadon Sancho to Manchester United will happen. But what I would say is, and I'll throw this to the chat here, do you think that Manchester United, with what do you think? What problems does Jadon Sancho solve for Manchester United to make us? Because I think some people are very much of the opinion that Manchester United will get Jadon Sancho and it revolutionises Manchester United. And I would say, well, how does that work? How do Manchester United go from where we are now, bringing Jadon Sancho in, and then being a side that wins things? Because ultimately, what I think Jadon Sancho will bring to us, and it's something that we desperately need, is the ability to create from out wide, which I don't think we really have. But Is he going to solve the midfield problem with McTominay and Fred? No. Is he going to solve the centre-back situation? No. So Jadon Sancho makes us better as an attacking side, but you've still got to get the ball to him. And he won't help with the defence, and he won't help with getting the ball from back to the front. So Sancho will improve us, but in many ways we'll still be conceding the same goals that we did last season. It's going to be very interesting how that works out. Let me just Austria, isn't it? There was something I wanted to mention in relation to Paul Pogba. Actually, let me just mention that. It's just coming to my head. Paul Pogba, where are you, Paul Pogba? There was something I wanted to bring in about Paul Pogba. I think it's coming from Fabrizio Romano. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. So yeah, we need to see in the next weeks or months if Manchester United get an opportunity to look at a central midfielder. Let's see the saturation around Pogba as well. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, he was on our channel probably about a month ago, and he said exactly that. Romano's been very consistent around United looking at a midfielder will depend on what happens with Van der Beek and Pogba, which is weird because I don't see why it does. He also says the main priorities of United are Sancho, a centre-back, along with a right-back. Trippier is going to be a hard deal to do, and Romano has said that before. 40 million euros is what it's going to take. But what he did say about Pogba is that Manchester United don't want to lose Pogba, which we know, but they also don't want to lose him for free next summer. Raiola is working on other deals at the moment, and no negotiations are ongoing with Manchester United on a new contract yet, which I think is a dangerous situation. And then Romano goes on to say it's a dangerous situation because Mino Raiola's players recently left as a free agent. So it's an open situation, but Manchester United won't look at any discount and want an important bid to sell him. So I'll stick to what I've always said here. I am somewhat concerned about Paul Pogba and Manchester United's future. Doesn't Mark remind you of a young Bex, says Ali. We're not that different in age, to be honest with you, and I think you might need to change your glasses. But David Beckham's is a gorgeous specimen of a man. I wouldn't say that there is any comparison. But on Paul Pogba, yeah, I mean, you know my theory. He's going to run his contract down. But it's interesting that Romano, who is ridiculously close to Mino Raiola, is saying, look, United need to be careful because Riola's got a few clients that have run their contract down. Donnaruma's certainly one. The reason Mino Raiola likes his clients to run their contract down is because, yes, he makes a lot more money. But second, he's also in total control about where his client goes. United are screwed. United have got no power. And it's all right for Fabrizio saying United will only sell him if they get a good offer. But look, I'm Man United. Pogba, I ain't going to sign a new contract. Real Madrid will give you 30 million. Juventus will give you 35 million. PSG will give you 40 million. I want 60 million. No one's doing it. I basically take that 35, 30 or 40 million, or I get nothing in a year's time. So for United to sit here this summer and say, we're not letting him go unless we get market value. It's going for nothing next year for the second time. So, United do not have the strength in the Paul Pogba situation. The only strength we've got is to build a team this summer that makes him want to sign a new contract. And that means getting a centre defensive midfielder in, definitely a centre-back and Sancho. And then saying, look, we've provided the team for you to be successful, please stay. And even then he might go, well, it's 5 years too late, I'm going. I want a new challenge. So United have no power in the Pogba situation. No power at all. Ollie has to be brave and pick one of McFred alongside Pogba if he doesn't get a CDM. If Pogba plays left midfield again, he'll pack his bags and leave even before that, says Akshay. And we have become a joke. Simple as that. Ridiculous, says Shravan. Glazers are the main job for the boys, guys. They are the polar opposite of what United stands for. Nice, smiling, polite and incompetent football sense. People, we are the Red Devils. Behave like devils, says DK. And Diddy Mark, proven in the Prem. says Delaney. I mean, look, there's plenty of centre defensive midfielders I think many of us would like to sign, but it's difficult. Just on Van der Beek, remember there was that story, I think yesterday afternoon, that he wants to go to Barcelona. This has now been clarified as bullshit, and he's just focusing on getting fit and ready to go for next season, which is good news, really. Ramos, yeah, there's a lot of talk about Ramos, but nothing in relation to Manchester United that's concrete. I know he said he's not going to Sevilla. I would imagine Ramos is going to go to PSG, really. Hi, he meant Jack. Is there any chance that we can continue the protest? Clearly nothing is happening the way it's supposed to, says Sachin. Look, I in relation to the protest, it's gone very, very quiet. The Glazers have basically ridden the storm. And they've ridden the storm on what? Thin air. Like, nothing's changed. You know, from those protests and from the reaction to the protests where they put up the big barriers outside Old Trafford, why has it stopped? Why has the Glazer out movement stopped? Because since then, we've lost the Europa League final. We've done nothing in the transfer market, in or out. But everyone just seems to be like, oh, the Euros are on. Oh, we might buy Sancho in the next year. It's just gone very, very quiet. And you know, all that's happened is Joel Glazer did a Zoom call promising the earth, and nothing's been delivered yet. You know, oh, we're gonna rebuild Old Trafford. Well, why not doing it now? When are you going to do that then? Oh, we're going to give you shares. What's that all about? They're just playing the long game. They're just playing the long game. I remember somebody a few years ago, they got into trouble on social media for saying something that, well, wasn't, they just did something that was a little bit dodgy. You know, it was basically a money-making exercise, and they got exposed for it. And a lot of people said, oh, that's them finished. They're finished. They'll never be able to, you know, they'll never get away from that. What they did is they just came off social media for 3 weeks. And then they came back on, and there was a few people moaning about it, but ultimately they just carried on as normal. They just disappeared for 3 weeks, and then they came back. And it's called playing the long game, because ultimately, if you do something really, really bad, and then you try and hang around, then you're going to get all the shit. But if you go to ground for a week or two, and then just let it blow over, you know, people are still angry, but the momentum's gone. And I think that's what's happened with the United Glazer out movement. They've just played the long game. They've offered up a few false promises and played the long game, and now the fires are going out. We don't need Sancho, he'd improve the team, but we don't need him, says Sam Brox. We need a Pallister alongside Maguire's Bruce and a Kante behind Pogba, says Sam Brox. I don't disagree with you. Solid back four, win titles. Centre-back is the need above all else. Between Maguire and Lindelof mistakes, our Swiss cheese team would be holding up a Premier League title right now, says Mike John. I don't disagree with you, Mike, but I personally feel that Manchester United's most important position is the centre defensive midfielder. That's the dream ticket. That is the golden ticket. Christian Romero, somebody just asked me about that. No, it's a load of nonsense, Christian Romero. We keep getting linked to him. There's nothing in it, so nothing about that. How are you, mate? And how's Seb? Says Eddie. Very good. We've just been setting up his pitch in the back garden, so yeah, we're very, very good. Thank you very much. I'm doing a Netherlands versus Netherlands versus Austria watch along. In fact, I'm going to be live on there in 5 minutes. The link's in the video description, so we can continue the chat there. The thing about that sort of game is that it'll be a good game to watch, but we can also chat about a lot of other transfer stuff as well. So it's basically going to just be a 2-hour transfer chat, I would imagine. The link's in the video description for that. So yeah, look, Varane bid apparently gone in. Let's see how that develops. Apparently it's been rejected. Will they go back again? Romano's saying it's not gone in. United are not even in advanced talks yet. And Romano is saying in the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll find out about Sancho, which means every single United fan has been mugged off, because 2 weeks ago they said it was imminent. It was very, very close. And now we're, you know, altogether it's going to be 4 or 5 weeks from that point. Mugged off. Carragher did lay low, exactly. Carragher's a good example, and I like Jamie Carragher, but when that all happened with Jamie Carragher, he just laid low for a bit and it blew over, and then you come back. But if he tried to carry on without taking a bit of time off, nobody would let him forget about it, and the fires would have kept burning. But you go quiet, you let the fires burn out a bit, and then you come back, and that's what the Glazers are doing. Ashley Young's apparently coming back to Villa, yeah. But I'd heard Burnley before. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'm literally going to be live on That's Football in about 4 minutes time. I'll see you over there for the chat. Links in the video description for that, or you can just type in That's Football. And remember, Manscaped, 20% off. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Fantastic products, 20% off through the link in the video description. And if you want the nasal trimmer, they work really well as well. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Get over to That's Football. We'll continue the chat there.